This is going to be the only guide you need to watch this year on how to build landing pages that convert higher than all of your competitors. Most landing pages are converting at only 2.35% on average, which means that those businesses are leaving a ton of money and hundreds of leads on the table. But with just a few small tweaks, they could be capturing a lot more of that revenue. For instance, my team and I helped take Influence Hunter from a 2% conversion rate on their landing page to a 7% conversion rate in just less than 60 days and generate over $3 million in incremental revenue. We also helped take this brand in the enterprise software niche, going from a 1.5% conversion rate on their landing page to a 6.42% conversion rate, translating to millions of dollars in incremental revenue. So instead of just me showing you these results, let me actually show you how to create a landing page so that you can get these results for yourself. So step 0 is to get a design tool set up. This is going to let you plan out the blueprint for how your landing page is going to look and function. We use FIGMA, which is a prototyping tool. This is going to allow you to basically make modifications to your landing page faster and plan in advance, which is not as easy to make changes once you actually start development. You're also going to need a tool to actually build out your landing pages once they're finalized in Figma. If you're on WordPress, I recommend using Elementor Pro. This is basically a drag and drop page builder that is going to let you make changes very quickly and make modifications fast, which also lets you test a lot faster as well. You can also use tools like Unbounce, Framer, or Go High Level. These are all tools that we've used, but they tend to be a little bit more pricey. They all come with very intuitive building capabilities so that you can build pages super fast. Step number 2 is to actually start designing and mapping out your landing page inside of Figma. While landing pages will look different for every single brand and every single audience, there's no reason to completely reinvent the wheel. There's basically a structure of a high converting landing page that we follow for every single project, and this has been shown to outperform the competition time and time again. I put the structure inside of this Figma file, which we're going to be breaking down section by section, and you can take the link in the description below and make a copy of this Figma file so that you can use it for yourself. But before we start populating this, there's a couple things that you need to get really clear on before we start building the page. Specifically, you need to get very clear on who is this landing page going to target, hyper focus on one particular audience. Then you want to really deeply understand what is the pain point that your target audience faces on a day-to-day basis. What are they ultimately trying to achieve and what's their dream outcome? And then the final thing is, what stage of awareness are they in? Are you doing Facebook ads? Are you doing Google ads? Is this for your outbound campaigns? What is the purpose of this landing page? And where's the vast majority of your traffic going to come from? Because that's going to really shift a lot of the placement of elements in the hierarchy of information, as well as the messaging based on how aware that customer is about your product or service. Now we're going to actually start creating the landing page, and starting with the topmost section of any landing page, this is what we call the above the fold or the hero section. This is the only section that you can guarantee with 100% of certainty that 100% of people will see. If you don't nail down this section, nothing else on your landing page will even matter because people won't even be sticking around for it in the first place. Couple big things that we focus on here. The first thing is the headline. What is that dream outcome and what is in it for me? That needs to be immediately clear in the first 5 seconds or less. The second thing is the body text should help to reinforce your core value prop. And we basically use the contrast principle. So we're going to lead with the pain point, which is stop doing X, no more Y, or your pain point. And then you're going to complement that with your actual solution. Our solution does X, Y, Z, and that's where you're going to articulate the main benefit you provide. And then you're also explaining how you do, and what you mentioned in the headline. Basically articulating the proprietary or unique mechanism in which you provide your service. Some examples here on DataPal, right in their headline, they have reduce errors and save time on your warehouse operations. Very crystal clear. What's in it for me? The benefit is I save time on my warehouse operations and I'm also reducing my errors. The body text helps to reinforce that headline and basically explain how they do what they just mentioned in their headline. Trusted warehouse management system to lower costs, be more efficient, and dramatically improve your inventory control while continuing to work seamlessly within your existing systems. Plenty, another great example. So the headline reads, build more pipeline with AI-powered sales outreach. They could have just left it at AI-powered sales outreach. This is what I see a lot of companies doing, but they actually articulated the main main benefit that is derived from AI-powered sales outreach, which is building more pipeline and closing more deals. That's what I care about as the end customer. The body text then helps to reinforce that core value prop. They're talking about how their solution works with AI running account research, writing personalized emails, and executing your sales workflows for you. The final example here is Inboxy. Land emails in the inbox effortlessly so that you can close more deals. Closing more deals is what I care about as the end customer. And then the body text is helping to reinforce that core value prop where we're explaining how we do what we do that we just mentioned in the headline. And we're specifically quantifying the results by saying better open rates and booked meetings within 14 days of signing up. These examples that I just shared don't actually use the contrast principle of pain point and solution, but this is something that I recommend. But this is ultimately something that's going to be optional depending on how much space you have to work with and how long it takes you to explain your value prop in the first place. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull real life examples of how you can create these headlines using AI and ChatGPT. So we're just going to use a random example here. This company, they're like a cold email solution. And what we're also going to do is we're going to use the prompts over here. I'm going to put a link in the description below. These are all landing page prompts that are going to help you create high converting headlines super quickly and efficiently. First thing you're going to do, just take your existing copy on your website. It could be on your homepage or any other sales asset you have if you don't have a website already. And I'm just going to click Control A on my keyboard or Command A if you're on Mac. And we're going to just paste it into this ChatGPT. And we're going to copy over the first prompt here, which is right here. Here's some information about this company. And then I'm going to throw in the prompt at the very bottom. So now let's click enter and see what it does. Now we have these headline variations. So let's just do a quick before and after. In this before version, the headline is human enabled AI driven. This is basically a very poor example of above the fold section, specifically a headline, because it's not really articulating the what's in it for me, the who you are, the what you do. Human enabled AI driven could literally mean anything. And now look at all of these different headline variations. Increased meetings by 30%, no more no-shows, 100% follow-up and leads in 5 minutes or less, book more demos without lifting a finger. These are miles ahead of the existing value prop, and they're all very high converting benefit driven headlines. You don't want to just take these at face value. I still think there's a lot of opportunity to improve them, but from a saving time perspective, it literally took me less than a minute to do this. So this is something really actionable that you can also do to get headlines very quickly. Now we want to do the sub headline. So we're going to use this prompt over here. So copy this and look at that. Stop wasting time on manual tasks. This company automates the most crucial part of your sales cycle, converting replies into booked meetings. All of these are miles ahead of what we had in the beginning. And now I can start improving upon this a bit further. If you're still not happy with the prompts, I like to use these two as well. So you could just say, make this more benefit driven and similar to the example, or you could also say, highlight the pain point in the beginning, followed by the solution. These are already using that contrast principle. Like never let a qualified lead slip through the cracks again. This is what our solution is. The next big area of focus is the call to action button. What is the main action that you want people to take? Typically for our B2B or SaaS clients, that's going to be filling out a form or booking a call. You're also going to want to complement this with reducing friction and fear, uncertainty, doubts, which is what we call FUDs for short. You can see how in this landing page template, the reduction of friction and FUDs is right near the critical point of action, which is underneath that CTA button. This is going to be where people are most likely to convert, and we want to reduce friction intentionally around that area. Quick example here for Scrubby, we did this underneath their CTA button. So first of all, the CTA button, try it free 100 emails. We're not just saying try it free, which you get a free trial. So we're reducing the risk around signing up, but we're also indicating how many emails you get because this is a solution that helps you to verify your emails. So you're getting 100 emails for free, completely verified. And then underneath that CTA button, we're reducing the friction by highlighting the fact that there's a free trial, there's a very fast setup, and there's a very easy cancellation process. So I'm way more likely to now click that CTA button and get over the edge and convert. Here's another example that we did for a mortgage lending company, Riden. Right near their CTA button, we highlighted the stats, 5-day closing time, 250 plus mortgages funded. So you can basically trust this company. And we're also highlighting that there's 0 hidden fees. And when you look at the CTA button, we're specifically saying get funded fast. It's an actionable benefit-driven CTA button that is basically telling the user you can get funded quickly. You just have to start the process here. Quick bonus tip here. There's something that we call progressive disclosure, which is basically where you show people some information up front. And then once they enter their information, you start building on top of that and showing them more information. So quick example here segment, you can see that all they're asking for here is just a work email. When I enter in my work email, now you can see that there's more fields that open up. They basically kind of tricked me in a way to thinking that this is a lot more simpler, but then once I enter my email, I've already taken the first step. Psychologically, I'm way more likely to then complete the rest of the steps as part of this process. So this is a really effective way to capture leads on your landing page right above the fold in the hero section itself. Next thing here, we have our social proof. Given the fact that 60% of people never scroll past this above the fold, we have to give them a reason to scroll past. And the way that we do that is through social proof. So social proof is anything that's going to build trust and credibility immediately at the top of the site. This could be anything from stats, reviews, testimonials, featured publications, anything that's going to build trust. If you look at the template example here, you can see that we have two forms of social proof. There's social proof 1 right above the headline, and then there's also social proof 2, which is still included in the above the fold. And the reason we do this is a lot of companies will just put one form of social proof, but we want to stack social proof. It's kind of the strategy to build even more trust in this most critical section and really squeeze out as many people as possible to get them to convert or subsequently scroll down further on the landing page. Quick example, we did this for Awesome Inc., where we have 3 different forms of social proof above the fold. We have the 4.98 out of 5-star rating with 4,000 plus reviews. We have the join 4,000 plus students on the right hand side underneath the apply now button. And we're also highlighting all of these different success statistics right above the fold to build immediate trust and credibility. We're basically stacking the social proof to build even more trust than a traditional site or traditional above the fold. DataPal, exact same thing. Not only are they talking about all of the companies that they've worked with and the integrations through the formal logos, but then they're also highlighting their Capterra, their Get app, and their software advice reviews right above the headline. The final thing you need in your above the fold is your image or video. This is where I see a lot of people going wrong. Your image or video should help to reinforce your core value prop and articulate what it is you do. Really make sure that your image or video actually relates to what it is you're selling. If you have a platform, actually show that platform above the fold and give a snapshot of what it looks like. When you look at Gusto, you can basically see this image and snapshot of what their dashboard or platform looks like at a high level. It's also subsequently conveying what it is they do. If I don't even read the headline or the body text, at least I have this image visual that I can immediately resonate with and immediately identify what it is the company actually does. When you look at Clenty, it's the exact same thing. AI-powered sales outreach is fundamentally what their service is. And then you can actually see this illustration on the right-hand side that helps to further articulate and reinforce that what it is they do aspect. We did this for Influence Hunter on their landing page. They're an influencer marketing agency, so they produce a lot of content on behalf of their clients. So we took all of that content and basically created a carousel around it, and we saw a massive increase in conversions because we actually A/B tested this on their landing page. This is layout 1, but there's also a second layout here, and this is basically very similar to the first layout. The main difference is that instead of the body text being in the form of a paragraph, you can highlight the top 3 benefits, the 3 value props, and then on the right hand side you can have a form instead of an image, but the image is actually in the background here. So you're basically capitalizing on the above the fold real estate. Instances where you want to use a lead form above the fold is when your product or service is a bit less complicated to explain and it's a bit more self-explanatory. So we did this for Awesome Inc., which is a web development bootcamp. We put the form at the top, and that, in addition to all of the other changes we made above the fold compared to the before version, we saw a 132% lift in the conversion rate and qualified leads. Moving down the landing page, now that we've gotten past the above the fold, we want to introduce the largest pain point that you solve and address the old way while also tying in your unique benefit. Just think of it like a salesperson, right? When you jump on a sales call with somebody or you're doing a discovery call with someone, you as a salesperson is trying to understand what is that pain point that they're dealing with. You want to acknowledge their pain point. You want to acknowledge that you hear them and you understand what they're currently struggling with. In the same manner, your landing page should immediately identify that as well. You want to acknowledge the pain point that your customers are dealing with and what is that status quo, but then you want to complement that and tie in how you actually solve that pain point through your unique benefit or your value prop. You want to make people feel like they're in the right place and basically get them to continue scrolling down, because ultimately you're going to introduce your solution and how it fits into their day-to-day life. This is really going to depend on what stage of awareness people are in, because if they're coming from Google ads or Meta ads, they might have already been introduced to that pain point in the ad copy copy and the ad image. So you might not need to reintroduce that pain point. But if they're coming from outbound, they may be less knowledgeable about what that pain point is because you haven't really addressed that up front yet. So really play this to what your main traffic sources are and what stage of awareness people are currently in. If you look at DataPal, they do a great job of this, where immediately towards the top of their site, they have this copy around running an efficient warehouse operation is challenging. And then look at the body text there. As your business grows, so does the size of your inventory. It's difficult to manage increasing inventory lists, multiple locations, higher order volumes, efficient receiving and putaways, all while maintaining accurate records. They've actually done their research, they've interviewed their customers, and they're highlighting all of the different pain points right towards the top of the site. This is now going to make me feel like, hey, these guys really know what I'm dealing with and struggling with on a day-to-day basis. I know I'm in the right place now. In fact, we also do this for ourselves, where we have investing in an unoptimized site is like putting water into a leaky bucket. And then the whole body copy is talking about how brands that typically come to us come from the pain point of investing thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, into their marketing budget, all to have their website or landing page not really convert properly or be optimized for conversions in the first place. So we're acknowledging that pain point, we're telling people they're in the right place, and now we're going to slowly build into the solution later down on the page. Right after we introduce the problem, now we're going to have our social proof section, where you're highlighting things like stats or testimonials or case studies, basically whatever is the most impactful piece of social proof that you have. Generally, videos are at the top of that hierarchy. You're going to want to put that right over here. And what you'll notice is throughout this entire landing page, we don't only have one form of social proof. We have so many pieces of social proof that are literally just scattered throughout the entire landing page. It's scattered over here and at the very top, because you can never go wrong with too much social proof. You're just trying to build trust and keep getting people to scroll down further and further, or also just convert at that point there and then. Quick example, the Line Group, we did case studies for them here where you can basically scroll through example client work that they've done and then all of the results that they've gotten for those clients. After the social proof section, now we have what I like to call the value prop sections. And you don't just want one value prop, you want multiple value props touching on every single aspect of your business and that end benefit that people really care about. You can see here, this is the first value prop, then we have the second value prop, and then the third value prop. The trick here is that you can actually collect this data from your customers, research and interview your customers. You can use a tool called UserBrain where you can actually get people to go on your site and you're asking them qualitative questions like, what are your first impressions upon landing? Who do you think this business is for? What do you really care about? We're getting all of that insight and then we're re-injecting it back into the copy, back into the headlines, back into the body text. The one thing you need to understand is that statistically, people will only read 20% of the content on your website. The other 80%, they just scan. That is why your headlines are the most crucial, and then the body text should help to reinforce that headline. You can see over here for the value props, you're basically just going to take this prompt for headlines, and this is going to be all of the different value props that you could have further down the page. So I'll just copy paste this, throw it into ChatGPT in that same thread that we had previously, and I'm going to get a bunch of other headline variations that's going to serve as my starting point that I can further iterate upon later on. Just to show you an example of this in play, after the case study section for the Line Group, what our team did is we then introduced with all of the different value props in the exact same layout that I was just showing you in the template, harness Amazon's reach without the headache. Pain point, we know it's very stressful working on Amazon, growing your business on Amazon, and the body text here, we've managed the marketplace so that you can spend more time on what it is you do best. Keep full brand control while we do the heavy lifting. And again, these are all further articulations of that headline. As we just did with the hero section, we always want that image or video to complement and reinforce the core value prop. Again, if it's a more consulting based thing where it's more people to people, like on the Line Group, that's why we were showing people actually working. But if you're a software solution, you can also showcase images or illustrations of your software and put that on your landing page itself. Once we get past the value props, then we're going to introduce another social proof section. Again, you want to prioritize the most important ones, put those at the top and then scatter them throughout the rest of the page. And then after the social proof section, we have this benefit driven section, which is basically the differentiator portion. What makes you different than your competitors? So you could use a simple layout like this where you have 6 differentiators and then you have a headline and body text for this. You can also use this example here, which is basically a table comparison where you're basically showing your brand relative to other competitors and how you actually stack up. Some quick examples here for Ryden, that mortgage lending company we worked with. These are the 6 differentiators. Say goodbye to paperwork. We offer hands-on support. Our rates are competitive. We're flexible. We believe in transparency, custom mortgage solutions. solutions. These are all direct comparisons to the status quo, to other competitors in the space. For Influence Hunter, we did that table example where we're basically taking their company and we're comparing it to other influencer solutions in the market. So we're touching on all of the different pain points and all of the different dream outcomes that people care about, like affordability, reach, digital assets, services, reporting. Following this section, now we have the how it works section. You're basically explaining the steps of how it works, and you want to make the perceived likelihood of achieving success high and effortless. You're basically telling people that it's going to be 3 or 4 or 5 easy, simple steps and will take you from point A to point B in the least amount of time possible. This is what we did for write-in, where we basically highlighted step 1, you submit your request. Step 2, you just give us a couple documents and appraisal. Step 3, we're going to give you a rate quote. And then step 4 is a commitment letter and getting funded. And the headline there, getting funded, is simple. All it takes is 4 simple, easy steps and you're good to go. Then we're introducing another social proof section. And then we have the FAQs. FAQs, super critical. A lot of people forget to put this, but towards the bottom of your landing page, this is where they've already scrolled down this far. They still might have some lingering doubts or concerns, and this is your job to alleviate those at this point. What are people saying on calls? What are people saying in interviews? Re-inject those and address those upfront. The final section to end things off is what we call a final recap section and why people should take action today, and you're trying to create urgency. This is basically your last chance to grab their attention. Highlight your 3 value props up front, any benefits, highlight that CTA button, reduce your fear, uncertainty, doubts underneath the CTA button, and then highlight your social proof, and finally have an image or video that reinforces all of the things that you're mentioning. As you can see on DataPel, they do exactly that. Their headline, that last chance to grab people, improve your warehouse operations with DataPel Cloud today. Then you highlight the testimonial. So that's your social proof, clear call to action button to get people that last chance to get them a free trial. And then they have that image that helps illustrate what it is they do and a snapshot of their platform. Now that's how you create your first iteration of your landing page. But the truth is, the real money comes from split testing and testing some more. I know this better than anyone because I've built and tested more than 400 landing pages. So click here to check out the next video where I distill all of my learnings after building over 400 landing pages into some hyper actionable tips. You can then take these and use them on the landing page you just built to see even more conversions than your first iteration. This is going to help you really unlock that revenue that your page has the potential for. See you in the next video.